Oh, and Nico Hash comes in, and so the meeting can now start. Welcome, Nico. I'm Candace Payne, and I'm chair of the Lewis and Clark County Commission. And the first thing we always do is pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, as I stated, I'm Candace Payne. To my immediate left is Tom, aka Typhoid Mary, Rolf, and Brandi Spangler is running our electronics and keeping us from wandering off into the weeds. Immediately to my right is County Commissioner Andy Hunthausen, and Nico Hash is from the County Attorney's Office, and he also helps keep us out of trouble. And Roger Balls, our Chief Administrative Officer. Someone pointed out that I used an acronym yesterday or Tuesday, when I introduced you as a CAO, and that's not what I should be doing. Okay, that's everybody. There is a sign-in sheet at the top or at the front of the room, and we need to have everybody sign their little name and tell us how to get in touch with you if we need to do that. So we'll move along. Our agenda. Consent action items presented by Mr. Balls.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. Today you have two items. Item 2A is public meeting minutes for April 3 and 8, 2025. Staff recommends approval of that item. And item 2B is budget amendments for April 2025, and staff recommends approval of that item. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Roger. Are there any questions from commissioners? Nope, no questions. Okay. Is there any public comment about these action items? Seeing none. Is there a motion?
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the consent action items 2A and B as explained by Mr. Balls.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any further comment from the commission? Nope. Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt or we approve the consent action items as presented by Roger Balls. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 3-0. Action items. Action item number 3A is the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Harris Heavy Equipment LLC, and it will be presented to us by our friend Kevin Tenney, the king of the fairgrounds.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. I am here today to ask for the commission to approve a contract with Harris Heavy Equipment for the cleanup of the building that was destroyed on by a fire back in February in the amount of $14,850.
Aren't you going to talk a little more about the contract, Kevin?
Oh, I could. The contract itself is basically the cleanup of the site. It will haul off all of the vehicles that were destroyed, all the building materials that were destroyed. And pretty much that site will be cleaned out, which then we can go and test soil samples and everything, make sure there's no pollution of the grounds and whatnot. So we've been ready to get rid of that eyesore down there for some time. It's taken some time, but we're ready to get rid of it.
All right.
Okay. Is there any questions from the commission?
Chair Payne, I could, Mr.
Andy?
Payne, most everyone knows about the incident, what happened, but just a 30-second overview for those that might be watching today. We tried to explain to people what we're doing and why we're doing it. So we had a fire on, and essentially that building was how big? What did we use it for? Just really, and I know that there's a lot of things that were in there, so I don't want a list of all the things that were in there, but there's a lot of equipment and other things that the fairgrounds use on an everyday basis that were destroyed, and this is what we're trying to address, is to get rid of those burnt items and move on. So just a tiny bit for those that may not know the scoop.
Sure. So it was exhibit building number 2. It's been there since the early 1900s. We have been utilizing as basically our shop / storage area for all of our equipment. So this was our working area for the maintenance crew, but it also stored all of our vehicles. We had 3 pickups, 1 dump truck. We had, and I won't list everything, but the main things: 3 pickups, 1 dump truck, our man lift, our forklift, our skid steer, every tables, chairs. I mean, every tool that the fairgrounds had was in that in that building. Like I said, the fire started back in February. In speaking with the fire marshal, there's no determination of what caused the fire. It started quick and it burnt quick. Yeah, it was a pretty big loss to the fairgrounds. It's taken us some time, but we're starting to come back from it. We're getting that equipment replaced, and hopefully I'll be able to budget for a new shop / storage building in the next fiscal year.
Thank you. Chair Payne, follow up if I could.
Andy?
Mr. Tenney, so people might be curious as well about where most of this stuff might go, likely to the landfill, is that correct?
Some of the material will go to the landfill. A lot of it will go to like the vehicles that were in there. A lot of that will go to Pacific Steel for recycling. Yeah, basically the landfill and Pacific Steel will get all of the items that were in that building. Anything that can be recycled will be recycled at Pacific Steel.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair Payne.
Tom, do you have anything?
No, I think it's pretty clear. We need to get back up and running and get all that debris out of the way.
Just so that the people out there in TV land have a clear understanding, when I was on the fairgrounds board, I was pleased to see, where does the fairgrounds get the money to run?
The fairgrounds is an enterprise fund. So, I mean, the majority of what we take in rentals, revenue from Stampede and Fair events down at the fairgrounds is what keeps our gates open.
So basically, it's, you pretty much eat what you kill. This is not, operating the fairgrounds is not one of the things that is mostly paid for by our taxes. It is paid for by user fees. Is that correct?
Correct. I mean, there are some taxes that come to the fairgrounds, but yeah,
Okay.
user fees are, I mean, that's the lifeblood of the fairgrounds is the events that we hold down there.
I'm just very impressed with that. What a cool way to do things. Okay. Any other questions for Kevin? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, speak now, forever hold your peace. This is your last one. Okay. Could we have a motion, please?
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Harris Heavy Equipment LLC as presented by Mr. Tenney.
Second.
Is there any further comment from the commissioners? Nope. Okay. Well, in that case, let's have a vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve this contract indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Kevin, go forth and operate. Now to the really fun part. Action item 3B, resolution 2025-25 to approve tax abatement to the American Chemet Corporation on qualifying Class 8 property. It will be presented by Frank Cornwell, and a representative from the company is actually here today to help us get this figured out right. Frank?
Morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Frank Cornwell, Chief Financial Officer of the county. Just as a forewarning, this is the first time we've done this. This is as a result of an action that the legislation, the last session passed this law to allow these abatements, and this would be the 2023 session. So we didn't have any of these last year. This is our first run through, so it might be a little clunky. We're still kind of learning how we're gonna kind of wade through these as they come in. So we're gonna try our best, and we'll get through it. So just to start off this, with a little bit of background, Montana law allows for tax exemption on qualifying Class 8 property, specifically manufacturing machinery, fixtures, and equipment installed in place in service after December 21st, 2022. The exemption applies for a period of 5 years and includes a 20% phase out annually until the property is fully taxable. In accordance with statute, American Chemet Corporation has submitted timely applications and project plans for abatements. The county provided public notice on April 5th and April 12th, 2025, in accordance with statute. The commission must determine whether to approve the applications and at what percentage the abatement rates should be set. You can see those on the results of those abatement rates on 3 spreadsheets that I provided you, and the impacts of those rates. The staff recommends setting abatement percentages and approval of these resolutions. And upon approval of the resolutions, the applications will be submitted to Department of Revenue to complete the process. And we could start with the first resolution, 2025-25.
In the
Chair Payne.
interest of following the direction of Mr. Hash, we need to take these each one as an individual resolution. So if there's ever any question about one of them, they can clearly be separated out. So the first one is Resolution 2025-25.
Excuse me, Chair Payne, would you like to invite up
Would
the...
Mr. Gagner like to come up and help explain this new process to us?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dan Gagner. I'm the controller for American Chemet. So we can take these one at a time, like you said.
Well, and that's kind of what I had in mind, because as you know, this is all being videotaped. And Nico Hash is our lawyer. If he ever has to defend this thing, he wants it so we can do each one by itself. So you're going to need to say the same thing for each of these resolutions, because each one are a separate contract. Is that correct, Nico?
Chair Payne and Commissioners, I think certainly, right, we're trying to find a balance between treating each of them separately and at times being efficient. So if there's a broader discussion that happens on the first resolution, that's totally fine. You have to take each resolution separately. But for example, if if a majority of what is happening under these resolutions is explained in the first, I'm going to call it the first resolution, then we don't necessarily have to do that same discussion over again in terms of the presentation, because the board will have already heard what you're doing on all of those resolutions. So you don't necessarily have to go through the same presentation again. You have to do each resolution individually. I don't know how long the presentation is planned to be, but
We'll be out of here by 12:30 or 1.
perfect.
When
That
we
works for
did
me.
the recent zoning, we did some work on zoning, and each one of those, A, B, C, D, E, and F, had to be done according to Hoyle, so to speak. But, okay, we'll follow in your directions. Mr. Gagner, would you give us a
Yes.
brief rundown?
Okay, so the first project that we applied for was a $3.1 million project completed in January of 2024. We call it the B4 line. Now, what this is,
Call it the what?
the B4 line. That is the name that we put onto the application.
Okay.
It's a hydrometallurgical process. It's a full product line. We put in copper and it churns out cupric oxide, which is one of our biggest products. So that is primarily used in the agricultural market industry as a micronutrient for animal feed. So that is the first project.
Before you go, where do you get the copper?
From all over the country. We buy copper from, we have dozens of vendors.
Is it shipped in via railroad or?
Some of it railroad, some of it truck. It's recycled copper.
Oh,
So, yeah.
oh, okay. Like I say, this is really interesting, I think. All right. Do either of you have a question for Mr. Gagner?
If I might,
Tom?
Chair Payne, when we do these things that reduce taxes, I think it's important. I kind of have in the back of my mind some parameters that we need to follow. And one is how much of the income that you derive from the products you're producing here comes from outside our area.
Okay, so the income that we get, so we sell all over the world. We are the leading producer of cuprous oxide. So we employ in Helena, East Helena, roughly 130 employees. We have 3 shifts that go around the clock. Half of our sales are export, half domestic, roughly. So we're getting a lot of dollars from outside of Montana, bringing them in and dispersing them to our payroll.
And if I might follow up with another question, are there other producers since this first one's about agricultural product,
Yeah.
that are competitive, that are within our area here? You have competitors in our general area?
Not in our general area. No, most of our competitors are overseas. For this product specifically, our largest competitor is in Australia.
Okay, all right. And by having this new process, if I might continue, were you able to are you hiring new people?
Yes. So this is actually the third line of this process that we put in. So we've added capacity. So we've added, I believe it's roughly 8 million more pounds that we can produce annually off of this line. So that's, between maintenance and operators, I would venture to say 2 to 3 employees that get added for this, if not more.
Okay. Yeah, Chair Payne, if I might, it just seems to me that if one of the things is not to give a competitive advantage to one company, that another company in our county would be a problem with. And secondly, is that you're bringing money in primarily from outside the state, and outside of the country even. So we're bringing new money into Montana, into Helena particularly, a very positive thing. And you're adding employees, which hires more folks and it improves our local economy and a more profitable company here. The folks that work for you will hopefully have a little better income and be able to give back to our local community.
Thanks. That's our hope as well.
That's great. And just as an aside, if I might, Chair Payne, the American Chemet has been an incredible partner in our community for 80 years, something like that.
80 years next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
1946.
And if I remember right, you're in your maybe 4th generation of leadership, and it's just a real asset to our community, and I really appreciate it. I was thinking this morning about several of the things that I'm involved in the community, where people from Chemet are part of it. It's everything from the symphony to the Toastmasters Club that I'm a member of, and you folks are all you're putting back into our community very much so, and I think that's very important, and you've been a great partner here.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Andy?
Chair Payne, question for Mr. Cornwell, please, if I could. So I'll preface this question with just this statement as well. I don't want to repeat everything that Commissioner Rolfe just said, but I agree with all of that. And I just looking back at my tenure on the commission, this is my 19th year on the commission, and I don't think that we have denied a tax abatement request in the past. This is a different kind of tax abatement on different kind of equipment. And I get that, but it is a tool the legislature has given local governments to consider. And from my perspective, those very few tools, and tax abatement is one of those tools where we can partner with our private entities to assist, if you will, or give them, say, hey, we want to partner with you to make sure that you thrive in our community and that you do well in our community and all of those kinds of things. But it is a bit of a balancing act, and what that leads to my question is that if we could just go over, we don't have the opportunity to deny this tax abatement, but we have the opportunity to either set that tax abatement at 80%, 90%, or 100%. And I want us to understand the impacts of each one of those percentages. And you gave us the spreadsheet, but I kind of want to get it on a record about what that means. I am more from the mindset of partnering with our local businesses and trying to help them as much as we can, but we have to consider the impacts to the greater taxpayer as well, and where that tax that is not collected from this abatement would fall and how that would be, and kind of balance that out and try to work together and say, yes, the local taxpayer taking on a little bit more of a burden, if you will, to address this abatement is worth it because it creates jobs, as we discussed. It brings in money from out of state, out of country even, and it helps a business in our community thrive and for the long term. And that greater tax base that American Chemet, for example, pays is significant in our community, and it really does help our community. But there is a bigger picture. So I just want to understand those different percentages and how that impacts others that might have to make up the difference, if you would kind of address that.
Chair Payne, Commissioner, absolutely. Just, Chair Payne, can we maybe go through the impacts of each one of these? And then just to kind of keep it clean, I'll go through each one of them, and then Mr. Gagner can talk about them individually, and you can ask him questions about the property. It's just, it'll be a little bit cleaner so you can kind of do this administratively to see the impacts. What are these properties that they've put in place, the equipment they've put in place, and then after that we can kind of take action after that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To
me.
I'm gonna step in here because would find that kind of confusing.
Okay.
It looks to me like, okay, if we grant a 90% abatement, according to your table, it says the estimated abatement is $12,769.92. Okay. So that is an amount that we give back to them. Is that correct? On this particular project?
Chair Payne, which property number?
I'm looking.
Oh,
at
you're
the
at property.
First one, American Chemet Company, property 2.
Property 2, okay.
And under the 90% abatement, it has a figure.
Mm-hmm.
So
Chair Payne, yes, that year one, there would be a tax savings under a 96 or under a 90% abatement.
Do they pay it in and then we give it back? Or do they just not have to pay as much in the first place?
Chair Payne, the latter, they wouldn't have to pay as much.
Okay. Recognizing that we have a certain amount of dollars coming in from our taxes to support this wonderful county. Think of it as a pumpkin pie. It's Thanksgiving. And if American Chemet usually pays their full amount, which is the $14,188.80, but instead we give them the 100% tax abatement that cuts it back
To zero.
so they don't have to pay that. Okay,
For the
where
first
does the
period.
money come from to make up that $14,188.80? We've got to fill that hole someplace.
Chair Payne, yes, that puts, by accepting these abatements and by passing these, they do put more pressure on the property tax mill levies. Yeah, so that's the impact of these abatements.
I was afraid you were going to say that. Okay. Any other questions from the commission? Tom, Andy?
Chair Payne, I was recognized and asked a question, and Chair, Mr.
Yes.
Cornwell wasn't allowed to answer it yet, so.
Nope. Chair Payne, just quickly, so on, because we're kind of, I do apologize, we got our property numbers out of line with the resolutions. So we do start with property 2 and then go to property 3 and then end with property 1. Property 1 is the one that Dan had just covered, the large $3 million B4 line
Okay.
that he had just discussed. Property 2 is the small bag packer. And the impact just overall, we do a 15-year outlook on these. We expect these to at least be in use for at least 15 years. So if there was no abatement for the small bag packer, the revenue that the county would receive would be $89,000. If you do 80%, we'd only receive $42,000. The 90%, we'd receive $35,000. At 100%, we'd only receive $28,000. And the reason why we'd receive some income or some tax revenue is because this phases out after 5 years. It starts phasing out. So the last 6 to 15 years, there is revenue that we will be receiving.
Thank you.
Chair Payne, would you like me to go through the other two as well?
Are we ready for the other two?
Could you, if I could more fully understand, I'm looking at on my sheet relative to, let's see, Resolution 2025-25
Correct.
has property 2. It should be property 1?
No, it should be property 2. It should be property 2.
Okay. All right. So if at the present time, there's no tax because this is new property, is that right?
Correct. This would be the first time that we would be receiving taxes for this equipment.
So if we were to, for instance, take the 100% abatement, the normal tax would be $89,911, but at the 100%, that we would still receive $28,000 more than we have now.
Correct.
The abatement for 90% would be $35,000, and the abatement for 80% would be the amount we would receive would be $42,462.
Chair Payne, Commissioner.
So each one of these is new money.
Correct.
Okay, it's just that we are reducing it on the new property that they've purchased for a period of time in order to make it easier for them to accomplish this.
Correct.
Okay.
Good question, Tom. Thank you. That was helpful. Any further questions? Andy?
I don't at this point.
Tom? Okay, in that case, we need to go. Is there any public comment? We always ask, we seldom get any comments. Anyway, that was the opportunity for a public comment. If they want to make remarks, but they're going to just have to wait till next time. In that case, should we move on and do the first property, get a motion to approve this?
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the 80% abatement, reducing the potential tax revenue from 89,911 to an estimated 42,462.87.
And just to clarify, this is resolution number 2025-25.
Correct.
Second.
Okay, so 80% is what we are approving. Is there any further comment from the commission regarding this amount?
I just,
Tom?
if I might just say this, I really think this is a good opportunity that the state has given us to help out businesses that are making a difference in our community. And taxes are high. Even the reduction in taxes that are available to, even with the new laws that are coming up, they have much more equipment than any of those levels of free taxation would be in equipment. And I think that this would be a way to incentivize them a little bit, encourage them to continue to grow here and not grow their business someplace else. And I just think it's the right thing to do, to try to give them a little bit of a help.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Andy?
No.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we approve resolution number 2025-25, providing an abatement amount of 80% to the American Chemet Corporation on their qualifying Class 8 property. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? This resolution is approved, 3-0. Okay, moving right along. Next, let's
Thank you,
talk
Chair
about.
Payne. Resolution 2025-26 to approve tax abatement for American Chemet on Class 8 property. This one is your property 3. It's a 42-inch mill rebuild. We can have Mr. Dan Gagner give a little description of what that is, and maybe even you can cover the small bag packer, the one that we just passed, because you didn't get a chance to talk about that one.
That would be good. Thank you. Yes, Dan.
Yeah, so maybe I'll start with the small bag packer. That was completed in December of 2024 at $820,000. What this is, it's an automated bag packer. We ship out 50 to 55 pound bags. Prior to this, it was all done manually. There was a lot of injuries, overuse injuries with our packing team. So this is something that assists them now to make it a better working environment for them. Now the 42-inch mill rebuild, that was completed in November of 2024 for $221,000. So this is one of our main roller mills that we use in our production process. And it just needed a lot of rebuild. It was going out and we need to rebuild it. And yeah, it's one of our main mills in our production process.
So what is the process? I understand the bagging one.
Yep.
This one is a little more complex.
Yeah. So this is
What does it
used
do?
to, our main product is cuprous oxide.
Okay.
So that's an additive that's used in marine anti-fouling paint and roofing granules to prevent mold and mildew. So this is one of our main mills that we use to produce that product. It takes granules and it reduces them down to the correct particle size to get them into what we need.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Mr. Gagner regarding this? Must have done a pretty good job. Okay, back to Frank.
Chair Payne, for consistency's sake, I'll just go ahead and cover the impacts. Again, just like I did with the other one. So with the 80% abatement, or I'll start without the abatement, the tax the county would receive would be $25,993. If you went with an 80% abatement, it'd be $11,713. A 90% abatement be $9,636. And with 100% abatement, it would be $7,559. And that would be the impact on the county.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. I think you've got it. So we're thinking along the same lines, Frank. Is there any public comment on this particular piece of machinery that we're looking at tax abatements for? Seeing none? We're going to need a motion again?
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve Resolution 2025-26 at an 80% abatement rate as described by Mr. Cornwell.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. Is there any further comment? Seeing none, let's take a vote. All in favor of approving resolution number 2025-26 to approve a tax abatement to American Chemet Corporation on qualifying Class 8 property at a level of 80%, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 3-0.
So
Proceed.
Chair Payne, we would like to move on to resolution 2025-27 to approve tax abatement for American Chemet Corporation on qualifying Class 8 property. This is the property that Dan had already covered earlier. This is dealing with the B4 production line and the cupric oxide. And this one is a very large one. This is a $3 million investment they had made on their campus or site. So the impact here is going to be much larger. So normally without the abatement, the county would receive $334,853. With the 80% abatement, it would be $159,560. With a 90% abatement, it'd be $132,858. With a 100% abatement, it'd be $100,650.
Thank you, Frank. Dan, would you like to step up and tell us about this fine machinery?
Yeah. So it's a full production line that makes cupric oxide for us. It's our third line of this product. So it's increased our capacity by about 8 million pounds annually. We have 3 shifts of operators that operate the machinery, along with maintenance crew that maintain it. Is there any specific questions that?
What was the amount of the investment
$3.1 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, something else I was curious about. Does American Chemet have other locations of business?
No, just in East
Just
Helena.
us.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions? Questions?
I just would like for you to maybe explain a little bit about what that product does and how it's used.
Yeah, so this is primarily used as a micronutrient in animal feed. So it's for cattle to help them grow. It's yeah, so it's an additive that goes into animal feed. I don't know a whole lot more about it than that, but I do know that that's the primary use for it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And we're working towards being the largest producer of cupric oxide in the world. We're already the world's largest of cuprous oxide. And I believe we're real close to getting there for cupric oxide. Our main competitor is in Australia for cupric oxide. So this is an investment that we've made and that we're continuing to see growth in. And yeah, so that's a little bit more background on this product.
And if I might follow up, my understanding is part of your products go to some kind of a paint on the
Yes.
on ships and whatnot.
Yeah, so that is our primary product is cuprous oxide, and that we have the world's largest market share in that. And so that is an additive used by paint companies. If you see the big giant ocean tankers with the red hull, that's from cuprous oxide, that red coloring. And so what that does, it prevents barnacles and rust, and it helps the ship glide through the water, and it saves greenhouse gases, and that's the main use for it. Yeah, that's probably 50 to 60% of our business.
It seems amazing to me that a product like this, we only have 7 seaports in the state of Montana. But it's just amazing that this product is being built here and you're sending it all over the world. I think it's the ingenuity that your founders showed and the lasting power that your organization has had here. We appreciate you as a vital member of our community, and we thank you for all the jobs you provide here.
Thank you. We appreciate hearing that.
Thank you, Tom. Andy, do you have anything? Okay.
Comment when we vote.
Let's see. Did I ask for a motion? No, okay.
Public comment, then motion.
Okay, that's where I am. I get lost on my list. Okay, so is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I believe we need a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve Resolution 2025-27 at the rate of to approve a tax abatement to American Chemet on qualifying Class A property at the rate of 80%.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution number 2025-27 as explained by Frank and Mr. Gagner. All in favor, say aye.
Your pain.
I'm sorry, I have to give comment, allow comment from the commissioners. Go for it, Andy. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
And
reminding me.
Chair Payne, just wanted to save my comment till the end here. Thank you, Mr. Cornwell, for helping us wade through this new type of tax abatement. And Mr. Gagner, thanks for the work you do with American Chemet. And again, like I said at the outset, I have supported tax abatements throughout my career here because it's one of the only tools that we are given by the legislature, and we are subject to the laws of the state of Montana, what we're allowed to do. And this gives us opportunity to work with local businesses to partner and to assist in this small way or big way, if you will, to help generate growth in terms of not only equipment, but jobs and help them thrive. So I don't want to repeat all the things that Commissioner Rolfe said, but I agree with those, and it's a big impact. It's a big impact on the great city. You know, I grew up about 3 blocks from the plant, so happy to see East Helena thrive and that American Chemet's staying where they are, and this is their home and their only home worldwide. So this is great. Happy to support this this motion. Thank you, Chair Payne.
Chair Payne, if I might,
Tom?
I really do appreciate the work here, and I think this is a good thing to do.
I don't know. I almost feel like somebody has to say something mean, don't they?
No.
Oh, okay. No, and I also appreciate bringing up the paint, how that is connected, because I've been aware that this has to do with paint, but okay. So thanks for that explanation, and thanks for being a part of our community. As the other commissioners have stated, we recognize what an important part American Chemet plays, not only in the East Helena community, but also in Lewis and Clark County. We're all part of this effort to make this whole thing work, and your efforts are appreciated. Okay. Let's have a vote. All in favor of approving resolution number 2025-27 for a rebate amount of 80% for American Chemet, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Well, we did it. Motion approved.
I believe that was an abatement amount rather than a rebate.
A rebate. It was a abatement.
Yeah.
Oops. Am I gonna get fired? Oh, that's right. I gotta get. Okay. Well, that was an interesting discussion. We have come to the point in this agenda where we can receive public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda above. Seeing no public comment, we adjourn this meeting.